It is the 21st of September, the year 2022. This is Atlanta United FC Weekly, a Home Before Dark podcast.
That one went quick.
I actually don't. I don't have a can to open. I'm drinking Brew Doctor Clear Mind kombucha, and it is fantastic. But I wanted to pour it in a nice cup.
So, Tim, are you as high as fuck then?
Oh yeah, spiritually and
That's
emotionally.
nice.
Well, maybe not emotionally. Definitely spiritually. Mentally, a little bit. My aura is a little off right now. I'm trying to fix that, put good vibes into the world, all that good stuff. Thank you for joining us on this lovely Wednesday evening. My name is Tim Herb, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely co-hosts, Mr. Kevin Bradley over to the left side of the screen. If you're watching on YouTube, Mr. Dan James below at the bottom of the screen by himself. Just kind of prominent product placement. We have Dan James on display by himself, and Kevin and I have to share a quadrant or whatever section.
Well, I mean,
half of the screen.
Our screens are the same size.
Yeah, but you get to be by yourself down there in the crowd. In the crowd. Speaking of, we took Florence to our first Atlanta United game on Saturday. Thanks to our friends. I don't know if he wants me to put it out there. I'm going to do it anyway. Domer Donaldson and Casey Donaldson. Thank you very
Fantastic.
much. Yeah.
What charitable folk.
Yeah. It was a great time. It was a really good time. And of course, it was a game that Kevin and Stacy didn't go to. And I don't think you were there. Were you, Dan?
Which one?
Philly.
Philadelphia? No, I was not.
Okay.
I was at, what was the one before? I was
Orlando?
at the two prior.
Orlando, and then who was right before Orlando?
The previous two prior.
Oh, wait, no. Orlando was down in Orlando.
That's right.
It was, Toronto and DC? Were those the games you were at?
Toronto and DC, those are the ones I was at.
Hey, 2 wins.
Can you? So we were meeting the players as they come out the tunnel, and Araujo kind of blanked my son. I don't think he meant to, but he stepped up and missed the penalty, and my son was like, "See, he should have high-fived me."
It's true. It's karma.
And now Araujo's kind of on a glut of form because he didn't high-five my son.
What do we make of that? Is it just the curse of Dan's son?
No, I think it's the blonde hair. That's what I'm thinking about.
It just seeps into the brain cells. Is that what's going on? Yeah.
That's it.
Maybe.
No, really, what do you guys make of that? Because, we've talked a lot this year about the lack of production, let's say, from Joseph Martinez taking up a designated player spot. Will he, won't he? Is he injured? Is he healthy? Is he benched? Is he flipping tables? All that. Fine and good. I think we've talked that to death, maybe not. We might address it again later on in the show. But Luis, for a guy who really started off the season, I felt like in everybody's good graces, is not really there right now. And I'm trying to figure out why.
Almada. Because Almada's been so good. Everybody else looks terrible by comparison.
Well, I just feel like he's never really been I don't know. It's never really felt like he's become one with the team. Like when he came in last season, he had a lot of excitement around him, and he still produces blistering efforts. But to me, he's just not really just gelled in with everyone. Almada's come in and just almost fit seamlessly in there. And Luis seems to want to be the guy when we need him to not be the guy. We need him to be a really good guy in the squad. And he's not doing that.
You lost me. It's a lot of guys.
Guys. Hear me out.
Well, he just feels like he wants to be a focal point when he needs to be more of a team player, to me. That may seem pretty basic.
Don't you think you have to be a transcendent type player to be the focal point as a winger on a team?
What do you mean? Elaborate.
He's not. I don't ever think of. I guess I mean, I'm saying, a transcendent player like Salah for Liverpool, or Robin whenever he was at Bayern, or something like that, or Ribery. They're wingers, right? I mean, would you consider Araujo a winger? I mean, he plays
Oh yeah.
left side of the field, like he's constant. Yeah, I mean, I feel like unless you have that much talent, you're not really a talisman type player. Like Almada's in a position where he's playing the 10 and he should be the focal point. Like I feel like and hopefully I'm connecting here. Like I feel like as a winger, unless you are one of those types of players, you really should try and fit in with the team more than try to be the focal point of the team. I don't know.
Yeah, I just believe that as a fundamental piece of being a soccer player is that's what you should do.
Unless you're like a super good number 10, then you can ball hog all you want because you're creating. Like you could be the focal point of the team because you're the one distributing and creating. And I don't know. We rely so much on the wing backs to get up and put crosses in that I don't know. I just don't know about chance creation from those wing spots going forward. Anyway, it's weird to see him because he's one of the most talented players that I've seen, like just raw talent play for Atlanta United. Luis Araujo, like he has all the skills, and I feel like whenever we first brought him in, like he was really turning games on their heads, and he was really like.
I feel like he came out with something to prove in those games too.
And where is that now? And is it just like, is it mentality because we're basically eliminated from the playoffs, or?
Good question.
I don't know. It's just be like it does seem like he's trying to force things right now. He's if he had scored that penalty, I feel like he would have been in a totally different position right now. But he does seem to try and force things. In the past, it looks like there's a pass on and he doesn't take it. He tries to go it alone himself. It's like he's trying to prove himself above the team. I mean, he's not lifting himself above the team. It's just like he's trying
that's Joseph.
He's trying to get his chances when really he should, in a lot of moments, have played the ball off. There was a greater chance of scoring the goal if he had made the pass, but he decided to go it alone and basically has wasted a chance.
Yeah, but how many times have we seen Atlanta squander chances by someone not taking it and trying to take the pass, which then leads to 4 more consecutive passes that no one ever actually takes a shot on goal? So it's like, in some regards, you want a player that's going to take some on themselves. And I feel like it's easy to play, not armchair quarterback, but, hindsight's 2020, right? Like,
yeah,
you look at those situations. I can't count how many times we were talking about Barco last year. It's like, just take a fucking shot. Like, you've got all the opportunity in the world, do something with it. And so Araujo, I feel like, does create a lot of those opportunities. And even though it doesn't come on the better end of a lot of them, he is at least trying to capitalize on them individually. And while, yes, I agree with you, Dan, you want to see a little bit more of that playmaking distribution around him. I think it also depends a lot on who's around him. And now that I'm talking about it, I think that we've seen a precipitous drop off in Araujo's production rate as we've seen a drop off in Joseph in the lineup and Joseph's play time. I don't think that Araujo has built up as much consistency in his distribution with Cisneros as he had with Joseph whenever Joseph was starting. And I think that has maybe led to some of this fall off in his production or work rate, is that just who he's distributing to on the front end just hasn't been the same as it was when Joseph was in there. And I think that it's different whenever Joseph is in the game, just from my perspective anyway.
So the last time he scored a goal was against, hold on one sec. Let me try and finish this up. I know, right? I just totally lost my.
No, but I get you, Kevin, though, because like, especially at I mean, it's hard to say, but at the beginning of the season before he got injured, it was literally like 20 minutes, but they looked good together, right? Like, I mean,
well, even whenever Joseph was still starting, I mean, after he came back from his injury and stuff, there was a handful of games before he was pulled that I feel like him and Joseph had some good link-up play and were pretty well and, aggressive on that front line, but I just haven't seen that as much whenever it's been Cisneros in there for whatever reason. And I don't know if it's just a lack of chemistry or trust or what, but you see the way that he and Joseph play off of each other whenever they're in, and whenever Joseph does come in and they're both on the field together. And there's something about that just haven't seen with him, with the players around him.
So the last time he scored was against Red Bulls in the middle of August. And then the 2 games prior to that, he got a goal against Seattle and he got a goal against Cincinnati. So Joseph played started in Seattle and New York, but I don't think he played at all in Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. So, but they're also the last time that Araujo played 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that potentially could be that it's Martinez. He plays better with Martinez.
There's so much of that link up 1-2 pass play with Araujo and Joseph that, like I said, I just haven't seen him build that up with anybody else. I mean, Moreno maybe a little bit. Moreno has some of those tendencies. But even he's not, in the lineup right now. So it's, I don't know. It's tough.
I don't know if I agree with the Martinez thing, but that's fine. It doesn't matter. He just, I don't know what it is. He needs to be able to score. He needs to be able to make shots. He needs to be able to make everyone around him better, because he's the second. No, I think he's one of the highest paid.
But are you really expecting him to score? I think that's a little bit to Tim's point. Like, as a winger, are you expecting him to come out and put up 20 goals a season, or are you expecting him to be more along the 8 to 12 sort of range, but he's improving the ability for those around him to score?
But what is he at right now for the year? He's at less than 5,
I'm sorry.
right?
I'm looking at the assists. So I'm an idiot. So last time he assisted with those was New York, Cincinnati, and Seattle, but the last time he scored a goal was way back in end of June.
So he was assisting Joseph, though, on those goals?
He assisted... I'm going to have to go back now. So he assisted Martinez on the Red Bulls goal. He assisted... Oh, my gosh. Also, against Cincinnati, Almada and Gutman got the goals. So he assisted one of those. And then against Seattle, he assisted Cisneros.
Oh, well, fuck me, right?
Or Gutman.
Well, Kendrick Brock in the trap saying Luis should be 20 goals and assists in a season. A combined, sure, I think so, but he's sitting at less than half of that. He's sitting at 4 goals and 5 assists.
Yeah, either way, he's below production.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree with that. I think it's just a matter of figuring out what those expectations are. I don't expect him to have 20 goals in a season, but I agree. A 20 goal assist split in a season, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to Brittany S.'s point, we all agree Cisneros shouldn't start.
Well, yeah, and I was hopeful that your theory about his ability to play with Joseph, Araujo's ability to play with Joseph, had to do with the fact that, Joseph's really the only forward striker, whatever, that we have that really has decent hold-up play and being able to play those 1-2s. I feel like Cisneros and Dom Dwyer both are kind of run to the touchline type of guys. Like, I don't know. I don't see a ton of good hold-up play from the two of them, but I don't know if they're really being put out to do that.
How for all of us talking about like how disappointing it's been to see Araujo, I don't think that there was a better example than this past game where he's got or was it the Orlando game that, so it's back-to-back games. So he misses the PK in the Philly game, and then the Orlando game, he gets Octopus out of the out of the 18, it's a one. I'm like, he's wide open goal and just dribbles it over, and the defender comes and clears the line. Like he's got two basically wide open chances on goal. One in a PK situation, which take it for what it is, and the other one where there's no one in goal, and he just comes up short on that one too. So I don't think there's a better example of how lackluster his performance has been than these past two games.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, he's had chances, but I mean, to be fair, it's only been in the past few games that we've finally started to put things together.
True.
I mean,
true. Fair enough.
The rest of the season, I mean, it's been, we would have games where we played really well, but then lost or drew, and then, I feel like it's been such a tumultuous season that no one's really living up to the expectations. It's people we didn't have any expectations at all at that we are realizing have been pretty decent.
Like Amar Sejdic and Andrew Gutman.
Yeah. And Alan Franco. Well, no, he's read the past few games, isn't it?
I wanted to go to the trap for a minute because they're talking about Mosquera, giving him a lot of love. Elliot Beaven saying he should start. He should have a start. He's looking good. Jay Hannibal, gotta love Mosquera, plays hard. Kendrick Brock saying Mosquera at striker and just let him run and get fouled or luck into a goal. I think he would have been in hindsight, obviously, he should have been starting at striker. I know it sounds silly. Kevin Bradley, Michael Bradley.
I'm just gonna change my profile picture. It's just these are three. These all are three the same people.
Yeah.
What's your head shape? You're more of
a Michael Bradley guy than you are a Gutman guy. I feel like.
I don't know. You've kind of, because Michael Bradley's got a sharp peak, a crest on the top of his head.
Oh yeah, you're right.
But yours is kind of like in between Gutman's more egg-shaped head and Michael Bradley's crest thing. So I think you're a good compromise, Kev.
Yeah, good middle ground.
That's what post killed me.
But back to the Philly game on Saturday, which I guess we can get into. I think was the best game that I've seen us play all year, and I know I've gotten so tired of saying that, not getting 3 points out of a game and feeling like we played really well. But
that's exciting soccer, Tim. That's exciting. I'd rather lose 0-0 than win 1-0.
I mean, it did kind of feel like a loss. Yeah,
and it'd be exciting than win 1-0.
No, but one thing I noticed, and Dan, you could probably touch on this better tactically, or Kevin, same to you. But
no, definitely not me.
But I felt they played what seemed to be a high line, and we were beating them over the top constantly, but Dom Dwyer did not have the legs or the speed to really get those breakaways onto Andre Blake. And I feel like if Mosquera would have been in there, I mean, as we saw with him on the wing later in the game, he would have wreaked havoc, I feel like. Because some of those balls that, I don't know who was lobbing him over the top that Dom Dwyer was getting to, he was getting caught by the center backs pretty quickly, I felt like. And I think Mosquera would have been a good call. I mean, it would just be like high school soccer. Fuck it. The next two games, we can't score goals. Let's just hoof it and let Mosquera run at it, right?
Yeah, it's kind of almost, you've got that Tito speed back in a player.
Yeah.
Because remember, there was complaints about Tito being just like a train track guy who would just run at balls. Like, I mean,
that sounds like
scored 2 against Toronto.
That sounds like Eric Quintana.
Probably. Yeah, I've been really surprised with Mosquera. I was not expecting much at all when he came in, but it seems like another shrewd move by Carlos Bocanegra, dare I say.
I will say, I think it's still too early to decide that. I think he had a great standout performance against Philly. Against Orlando, I was not super thrilled or impressed with his performance there. So I think it seems to be back and forth with him. I think it's still a relatively small sample size, and he doesn't have a significant amount of minutes that I can say one way or the other. However, I agree. I mean, I think he's certainly promising in that he is not at his ceiling by any means, and there's certainly a lot of potential in his ability. But right now, whether or not he's in a starting position in that role, I don't think I can say confidently that he is, or that he isn't, for that matter.
Yeah, I wouldn't say. Well, no, I would consider starting him. Well, actually, I'm looking at. I wouldn't start him over Arroyo. I'm not going to start him over Lennon.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, no, I guess I'm not in a.
That's my
position.
thing. I'm not seeing anything in the lineup that says I want him starting over somebody else right now.
Yeah, I mean, he was great against Orlando and Toronto and DC, but the first Philly game and Portland weren't great. But I mean, you're right, Kev. It's a very small amount of time that we've seen him play, but there's promising signs there. But we never saw. I don't think we ever saw promising signs from other 22s, such as Lopez.
Eric Lopez, yeah.
That's not what I said, Kevin.
Well, you said it without saying it, Dan.
You said enough.
You said it without
George
saying
Bello
it.
wasn't a U22 signing. He was a homegrown.
No, he's a homegrown.
How's our boy Bello doing, by the way?
I don't know. They got relegated.
Oh, did they?
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Have you been watching Wrexham?
I've watched like episode 3 or 4, and then Hulu made me sit through 5 minutes of adverts, and then I just turned it off.
Yeah, I'm on the second episode. I'm really enjoying it so far, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think we were just watching it before we hopped on. I think we're on like 5 or 6 right now. I think there's 9 total. I don't know if it's done though. I don't know if they've finished releasing it yet, but
well, they're still the owners, and I looked at because that's the 2020 season, right?
Yeah, they seem to and they're doing really good right now.
It's 2020 and 2021 seasons.
Yeah,
it's both seasons because they took over like in the middle of 2020.
Yeah,
and then
gotcha.
I think they're doing pretty well in the standings. At least they were whenever I checked a couple weeks back.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were second or third in the standings.
Dan, who's your family club on your Welsh side?
Newport County. Just because my dad went to Wrexham for college and played there, and then he got trials. I think he had trials with Wrexham, and then he got trials with Newport County. But Newport County is what I knew when I was little. So that's my Welsh team, Newport County.
Gotcha. Well, it's interesting. There are not a lot of big name Welsh clubs. And the only 2 I really know or follow any progress on is Swansea and Cardiff.
Mm-hmm.
The big boys.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as Welsh football goes, I feel like those are the big boys. Elliot Beaven was asking if that was the first time Philly was scoreless this season. We held them scoreless it was the 5th time they were shut out this year.
Wow.
So it still seems
good. I feel like, again, I don't know what to make of it because I've been burned so much this season by this team that it's like recent history leads me more towards optimism, but it's cautious optimism at best. Like winning back-to-back games, which we haven't seen in a few years now, drawing and keeping the leader in the East and I think leader in the league, right?
Yeah, Supporter Shield.
Supporter Shield like leader right now, scoreless. Granted, you can start breaking that apart different ways, whether Philly just came in and expected to dominate and came out flat-footed or whatever you want to, or Atlanta being at home. Cut it any way you want to, but aside from the first game in the month, the past 3 games, Atlanta's unbeaten. So going down the stretch through the end of the month, we're potentially looking at a month of unbeaten play, which we haven't seen in a long time from Atlanta United. So going down the stretch, maybe you get 2 wins potentially and sneak into the playoffs looking really hot. Like, I think if you're going to be optimistic, now's the time to be, I think, with these recent performances, right?
Absolutely. I mean, this is the best we've been playing all year.
Absolutely.
So
A recipe for heartbreak, boys.
That's
It is a recipe for heartbreak.
Exactly.
It's not gonna end well, and I'm gonna be the one
No.
picking you guys up off the floor. I'm just saying that right now.
I don't think we're making the playoffs. We need too much help from other teams, and I just can't rely on that.
Okay, so let's talk scenarios. I mean, just from to the naked eye, we need to obviously win both of our next games. I'm sure there's actually a scenario where we only have to win one game and Miami and Columbus lose both of their games. Yeah. So we could technically win one game and have Columbus and Miami lose all three of their games, I should say. So
No, that's not going to happen.
well, Columbus plays New York Red Bulls. Pretty plausible that they lose even though they're at home. Then they have Charlotte and Orlando. I think Columbus beats Charlotte. That puts Columbus on what is that? 45 points. And if they lose against Orlando, which is totally plausible, and so is New York Red Bulls, if we win both of our games, that's the big if to me, is we got to win both of our games there. Then we would leapfrog them. But then we have to contend with Cincinnati. So Cincinnati is in the 6th spot. All right, we have to contend with Miami. It's Miami, Columbus, Cincinnati, and Orlando are the teams we can technically jump, I think. I guess there's some sort of interplay there because Orlando and Columbus play each other.
No matter what, we've got to win both of our last 2 games.
Oh, yeah. If we don't win, then we're done.
I mean, technically we don't, but yes, we in the majority of the scenarios we do. Yeah.
What's our magic number?
Miami has Toronto in Toronto, which, you know, Toronto got eliminated from the playoffs last weekend or last week, I guess. I think it was midweek they got knocked out, but they have all the firepower in the world between the 2 Italian guys, Akinola, and then you know, I think they could probably put it on Miami. Miami's playing pretty well though. I guess they've only won 2 in a row.
I'd love to see that happen. I mean, Toronto, by all accounts, it's like, oh, Toronto's got nothing to play for. Those are always fun because it's like teams have nothing to play for themselves. They have a lot to play for in ruining somebody else's season and opportunity to go into a postseason.
Oh, it sucks. Kendrick Brock's saying we need Orlando to win both games. They play Columbus and they play Miami. We need them to win both of the games. Yeah, I mean, it would be really cool to watch Toronto play spoiler, especially I think Miami. I mean, I think rightfully so. We're kind of the heels of MLS. You know, all the front office cheating. Everybody hates the Neville brothers.
I don't hate the Neville brothers.
Everybody hates the Neville brothers. I mean, you have the I don't know, the whole stadium debacle there. So they have Toronto in Toronto, and then they have back-to-back home games against Orlando and then Montreal on decision day. Cincinnati has Seattle in Seattle. I think that's an L for Cincinnati. Chicago in Cincinnati. Unfortunately, the way Cincinnati puts goals away, I think they're unbeaten in their last, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Their last 10. They haven't lost a match in their last 10.
Wow.
Oof.
So we have 3 more matches. Granted, it was Real Salt Lake, San Jose, a draw against New York City without Tati Castellanos because he's gone. And that team's different in my opinion. Cincinnati, they beat Charlotte. Drew against Columbus, drew against New York, drew against Atlanta, and then they beat Philly. I will say they beat Philly back in August. But yeah, I mean, the role that team's on, I still think they lose in Seattle. That's such a tough match at 10 p.m. for a team that plays in, I'm pretty sure, Central Time still. It's still like, I don't know. That still seems like a tough place to go and play. That's on Saturday. I think that's right. When's the 27th is? No, 27th is...
27th is Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay. They have a Tuesday match, and then they have a Saturday match, and then they have the following Saturday or following Sunday on decision day. And then Columbus, we already talked about Columbus. They have Red Bulls, they have Charlotte, and they have Orlando. Yeah.
Yeah, see, it's too much. And yeah, it's like because Orlando, Cincinnati, Columbus, and Miami all have a game on us. From what you're reading out, Tim, I think, you know, we're not going to catch Cincinnati or Orlando. We got to beat Miami and Columbus Crew and get better results than them. That's what it is in my mind. If it's going to happen,
I still think it's too little, too late.
I
And I
agree.
think part of it is me just trying not to get my hopes up to get them dashed.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
The other thing is we can't have two. We have to win at least one of the games, because if we get 2 draws, Miami wins that tiebreaker on because they have 12 wins and we only have 10.
Well, sounds great, guys. Looking forward to it.
yeah. All right.
So,
well, thanks for joining
only
us
2 more
tonight.
shows. Only 2 more shows this season.
Yeah.
Actually, I take that back. I will not be here next week. 1 more show for me this season.
So it's just the end of the season show.
Actually, I'm not here the week after that either. Actually,
Yeah, I don't suppose, Tim, you're going to be here next weekend either.
Next weekend? No.
but he'll be here to record next week.
You leave on Monday, Kevin?
Tuesday morning at
Gotcha.
5 a.m. So I will not be recording Monday night.
Why not?
Yeah, no.
Why not?
Yeah, no.
Our boy Kevin is getting married. Big boy married next Saturday.
That's it.
Big boy married. Big cheers.
I can feel the weight on my shoulders.
That's a huge, huge thing. I'm so proud of you, Kevin.
Yeah, me too. I'm so happy for you.
I don't know what sort of drugs
I was
you
gonna
give
say
Stacey
you guys
every
should
day,
be. I was gonna say you guys should be more proud of Stacey.
Yeah.
That sounds conceited.
No, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I guess you should feel bad for her, maybe.
On a serious subject, I did mention Eric Quintana a few minutes ago. Eric had the unfortunate, I don't even know what to say, plight of losing his brother.
Oh man,
Oh,
that's
shit.
that's terrible. I did not see that.
If you guys are so willing, if you go, I will find it real quick. There's I believe it's still up. There's a GoFundMe for Eric's brother's family. Yeah.
Is it on his?
I retweeted it, but yeah, it's if you go to
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
If you go to Eric G Quintana, Quintana, you can find the fundraiser there. Yeah, I don't know, man. My heart goes out to them. It's just a absolutely terrible tragedy. So anyway, we love you, Eric. I hope you guys are doing okay.
Love you, Eric. Hope you and your family are doing well, man.
Ooh, anyway, sorry. Do you have a download this week? Sorry, I should have saved that for the end.
No, that's okay. I do. Who are we playing? New York. Okay.
No, we're playing New England.
New England. I just saw new on my tabs and was like, oh, that's got to be New York. Yeah, so their last 3 games have all been losses. Which is kind of weird because they had a relatively decent start to the season. So they just lost to Montreal. Before that, they lost 3-1 to Houston Dynamo, and that's terrible. Then they lost 2-1 to New York Red Bulls. And then they beat New York City 3-0. So that was a little bit of form, but they've kind of dived down again. You think that we should win this game? If you look at some of their weaknesses versus our strengths, so defending counterattacks, defending against skillful players, defending against through balls, defending against attacks down the wings, and stopping opponents from creating chances, they're all weak in those categories. Whereas we are pretty good at counterattacks, attacking set pieces, and creating chances through long balls. So there's a lot of impetus that Atlanta should win this. I mean, we've got everything to play for, right? We have to win. It's no other option here. So I can't even hear the music. It's coming in now.
Must win, dude. It's must win.
It's a must win, 100%.
Must win.
I don't know what else we can say about the stats. It doesn't matter. We have to win this game. And we should win this game. I'm going 2-0.
Ooh. You heard it here first. That was the Dan load. What do you think, Tim? No score prediction, Tim? Nothing?
Oh, he's muted or something.
He muted himself.
I muted myself. Yeah. In New England, at Gillette Stadium, I never like our chances up there. Fuck. I don't know. I guess I'm hopeful because, cautiously optimistic because of our performance against Philadelphia. Granted, it was at home, but depends. We're in football season. Are those lines going to be on the field? If they are, I think we lose. If they're not, I think we win. So.
So our season is hinging on the linesman. Solid
gold performance from Atlanta United this week. 4-1 Atlanta.
Whoa.
I mean, it's next. The game's not till next Saturday, though. So.
Well, now you got me.
I mean, I will say.
We'll be sitting up there with our phones.
No, yeah. 4-1. Score still holds next week.
I will say about Kevin that he tends to get a lot of score predictions right. I mean, I don't get any of mine right, and he is more likely to get a hit. So,
like Rain Man.
And you're not stupid about him either. You're pretty savvy about it. You don't go crazy.
Did you say you're like Brain Man?
I did not say Brain Man. What'd you say, Dan?
I think you're pretty good with your predictions, so I'm surprised to hear you call something like that.
I think the team's peaking at the right time. I think a week to
time is in kind of too late, though.
Not too late. Not too late to make a statement and get the fear that they need coming back home for the final push. I think they capitalize on that. 4-1 Atlanta. That's what I'm saying.
All right. So they're peaking.
They're doing the gritty.
They're doing their best Orlando City impression.
God, I fucking hate TikTok. It is a national security threat, and it should be banned in this country, if for no other reason than the popularization of the gritty.
Oh, Brittany S. Joe Dickerson is the ref for New England. Ugh, that doesn't fill me with confidence.
I just think Atlanta's got to have one big scoring game. They haven't broken 4 goals all season, right?
Against Toronto at home, we certainly did. And
I
don't think we'll do it again.
Who are we playing? It's close.
New England.
I think it's good. It's close. It's up north. They feel good about it.
How far is Boston from Toronto? I don't think that's super close, right?
It's like 4 or 5 hours.
Okay, I guess it's good. Not too bad.
Close
enough, that's like Kennesaw to Lilburn on a weeknight.
It's fall, y'all, and it's time to rise up.
Fucking hell.
What?
Elliot Beavan, who's going to the last home game? Well, hopefully, Elliot, I will be doing. Brittany S, 2-1 Atlanta United. Elliot Beavan in again. ATL 6-0. Other people in the trap, get your predictions in. Nathan Explosion, Michelle, Kendrick, Jay, Hannibal.
If you're still watching.
If you're still, I mean, I'm scrolling pretty far up the comments line right now, so...
Oh, Dan with the fucking Manhattan with this music is a vibe.
What are we even doing here tonight, guys?
This is another kind of Dan load right here. This is when you go from giving to getting a Dan load. You know what I mean?
receiving? Who's
Wait,
the
yeah,
other-
I didn't get that.
Who is the other Dan? There's another Dan?
Oh, good lord!
How much
do
of
people
that
still
smoke
watch
wagon
and
have you
listen to
had,
this show?
Kevin?
It is a higher proof.
What are you drinking, Lagavulin tonight?
No, the smoke wagon.
It's good though. That is
Smoke that
It
skin
is
wagon.
good stuff.
real good, real good. But yeah, at a 114 proof, it's a little harder. So,
Nice.
yeah. Tim, did you give your score prediction?
No.
No, I think we win 2-0 in New England.
Ooh.
If the lines are off the field, and it's 2-0 New England if the lines are on the field.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. All right, so who's winning Cup this year?
I think it's Austin.
Really?
I do. They're so explosive, and I feel like they play so well. They get hot so quickly, I think. And I don't know. To me, that's, I guess, if you look at LAFC over the past few years, the Bob Bradley years, and they're kind of in the same mold. So that is a recipe for like high risk, high reward in the playoffs. But I don't know, man. Like there's something about that team, I feel like, in the crowd and everything. Like I'm going with Austin for Cup.
Okay. Dan?
Man, I think Austin's a really good shout. I think it's going to be. I don't want to say that.
You were going to say Orlando, weren't you?
I mean, the way this season's gone, would you be surprised?
I
It would
wouldn't.
be
I was
so
going to say it.
annoying.
I was going to say that.
Are they that good of a team
God.
though? Like, do they really have it in them? And do we think anybody outside of the? I know it's NYCFC's to lose from last year. They don't have Tati anymore. But like, is anybody in the East outside of Philly really a threat for Cup? Do you guys think?
Outside of the. Say that again, Tim.
Or is anybody in the East aside from Philly a threat to win the Cup? Otherwise, I think all the better teams are in the West.
I think Montreal are actually a pretty good team. I mean, they're actually third in the overall standings.
Yeah.
I don't think I realized.
I'll be
that.
honest. I really don't know enough to speculate. I haven't watched much of any other games this season at all to know one way or the other.
Could you see a team like Nashville grinding out the results?
But to answer your question, Tim, about Orlando, are they really that good? I think it depends on how you really cut it. Obviously, they won Open Cup this season, but when you look at them statistically and the breakdown of their like goal differential and everything else, I mean, they're one of the two teams that are negative in goal differential that are in playoff contention for the East. The other one being Miami, who's on the edge. So
Cincinnati.
So yeah.
Cincinnati's
Cincinnati's positive.
Right.
But yeah, like I said, I mean, they concede a good bit of goals. So I don't know that they're necessarily as high on my list versus I think Philly, like you said, is really, if I'm going to pick somebody to win, I think Austin's a good pull, like you said, but my pick realistically, I think Philly. I think they've been knocking on the door, man. I think it's got to be their year.
Yeah, but it's going to be really annoying if they win Supporter Shield again and then win
and do nothing with it. Yeah, exactly. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So, and I like to think Supporter Shield is the ceiling for both Philly and LAFC. So,
yikes.
So, I don't know. I don't want it to be Austin because it's their second season, and I don't want them to win a cup in their second season. I think that should be as. But you're right, Tim. I think that Austin's a really good shout. You're right. They are explosive. It's going to suck for them their next game because.
But also to Tim's point, like, is it the sort of SEC mindset in the West this season of like they're just going to beat each other up? You know, like, does Austin survive a very highly stacked West versus Philly that I think it's theirs to get to the final from the East.
Because what does the West look like in terms of matchups? So it's the top seed obviously gets the bye. So Austin right now would be playing LA Galaxy. I think they win that. Dallas would be playing Minnesota, Nashville, and Portland. I think Nashville and Portland will beat the shit out of each other, I feel like, in that matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Like
that would be in Nashville.
A knockdown drag out in Nashville. Yeah, Nashville would win that, but like
Yep,
how
I
long
agree.
could they sustain that type of play? I mean, they have the play. I mean, you have that defense and Hani Mukhtar, like you have a shot of winning cup just based off of that because you have a defense that can shut anybody out. And you have a guy like Mukhtar who can score from anywhere or draw fouls in the box and get spot kicks. I mean, like that team, honestly, I'm looking at the West, like FC Dallas. I mean, Matt Hedges, right? Like he's sorry. I mean, their defense, I didn't realize just how good their defense was. I mean, they've given up 35 goals this year. Is that the best in the league? No, Philly. Philly's by far 22 goals. But I mean, Dallas has barely given up anything, and you have Jesus Ferreira, who's just it seems like he's scoring a goal a game or every time he touches the ball. I mean,
Like
Portland.
I could easily see the West beating each other up, man.
Yeah. Minnesota, right? Like, I mean, they're negative. If you want to talk about Kevin, they're another one. They're the opposite of Orlando, or like the Western version of Orlando. Where they're
God, Vancouver the worst right now with goal differential at -17. Oh God, no, DC United. Holy shit.
San Jose has -18. DC's terrible, which is great because I'd like to see Wayne Rooney fail. Yeah, I don't. Is there anything undecided in the West? Yeah, I guess so. Vancouver and I didn't realize Seattle was so far out. They still have a shot of winning and getting into the playoffs. Yeah, so it's LA Galaxy. It's kind of the same scenario in the West. You have Galaxy, Real Salt Lake, Vancouver, and Seattle. Or I already said Seattle, but and Colorado are all within like striking distance of one another.
Yeah, that's even tighter than the East.
Yeah, I think so because I don't know if Sporting KC, I think, were eliminated last week, if I'm not mistaken.
37.
Okay,
yeah, they're out.
I just want to double back to my score prediction because even with Dan's download, I was clearly distracted. But looking at the recent run of form for New England, since I have to go back to August 13th to find their last win. They lost. Did you mention all this, Dan, in your download?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's that far back in their run of form compared to Atlanta's. I don't think that with the amount that they're conceding as well, I think it could really be a high scoring game for Atlanta the way that they're firing right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hope so. That's what I want to see.
Another interesting point, something to point and laugh at DC about, is they're the only team with a points per game less than 1. So anyway, food for thought. Yeah, I mean the West you have, it looks like 2, 4. Yeah, I mean you have four teams that are still not technically eliminated from the playoffs. So it'd be a fun decision day, I think. Hopefully not a lot is decided next weekend and we can roll into the 9th and have a fun day. Even if it's anxiety provoking, have a fun day out there. So
I'm just glad I'm really glad that we get NYCFC at home versus a couple of years ago where we had to end the season on the road with them. In a similar situation where there was some stuff on the line there. And I don't know if it was the last game or one of the last few games where we had to play up there in Yankee Stadium.
It was the playoffs last year.
Yeah, that's what it was. It's just I'm glad that we at least have an opportunity here at home against them because had we needed to play them on the road to potentially squeak in, I really don't like those chances. But I think it's lined up really well. It's lined up. I mean, aside from playing, DC and Cincy the last 2 matches, like it's not an unsurmountable hill to climb versus what we were looking at 4 weeks ago whenever we looked at the stretch. We've won 2, drew 1. of the last 5 when,
Mhm.
a couple weeks ago we were looking at it going, shit, I think we only get out with maybe 2 wins out of the whole lot, or maybe 1 even,
Well, I feel like that the performance against Philly has really instilled a lot of confidence. I mean, we had every chance to win that game. I mean,
Absolutely.
there's a lot of luck there that they got out of here with a 0-0
Yeah.
draw. I think we could beat New England, and I think we can beat NYCFC, because when we played them up in that stupid Matchbox Stadium, that we could have beaten them there. I felt like we were the better team. That was one of the games where we actually played a really good game and just ended up with a draw. I mean, we had to come back from behind, but it was a really decent performance in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't want to. I just can't get my hopes too high.
No, I mean, I totally get that. It's
all right,
just
everybody,
kind of
yes
how
or
the
no?
season is.
Yes or no? Just no explanation. Yes or no? Atlanta playoffs.
No.
No.
Yes.
There it is. There you have it, folks.
I hope you're right, Kevin. I hope you're right.
I
Prove
hope
me
so
wrong,
too,
Atlanta
man.
United.
I've been down on this team all season with very little to prove me otherwise, and I think that this past 3 weeks and other things have made me kind of look and think that they can surge and go into the playoffs, in which, if we get in, it's anybody's, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I think that's what Pineda's mentality and approach with the locker room is right now. Is it's us against everybody, and they've got to go in and fight and scratch and claw to get their way in there, and they've got a shot at this thing. And I think that it's a lot harder to do that with 15 games on your schedule versus 2, one of which is at home.
Yeah.
I think
Now you're completely focused.
Yeah, and you're coming off of 3 really positive results, all things considered. I think they got a chance, man. I really do. I really do.
I think we'll win our last 2 games, but I don't think we'll get in because of other games. But you're right. If we get in, I mean, that's the weird thing though, because of we're peaking right now. If we get in, MLS Cup is still on the table.
That's
nuts, right?
I know.
Which is just ridiculous.
I know.
But anyway, we got to get there first.
But even still, if I think that there's enough going for Atlanta with the other teams in contention, and 2 of them being negative goal differential teams that are inside the cut line, that you can see both of them potentially dropping 1 or 2 of their remaining games to allow Atlanta to leapfrog. The Orlando and Miami both are vulnerable. I know we need to pull for Orlando, but in their standings and what they've got in their points right now, I mean, if Orlando drops their next 2 and Atlanta wins their next 2, there's your in right there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess they'd have to drop their last 3. Sorry. Same thing with Inter Miami. Both of those teams are really vulnerable.
What we can't have happen is the 2 of them exchange.
Right.
Yeah, and exchange wins. Or,
right.
I mean, they're not playing each other twice, but you know what I mean? Like,
no, yeah.
One of them beats the other, and then they both win the other 2 games.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. But even if we don't get in, there's a lot of promise here for next season. Provided, and this is unless Almada gets sold,
which he will.
I think
Almada is totally gone this season.
We're back to the drawing board. I
don't
know,
right.
man.
Let's go another one. Yes or no? Almada in Atlanta in 2023.
First half, yes. Summer transfer.
Ooh, I like that.
Jeez, man.
I don't think teams are going to come for him in January. So
he needs to stay. He needs to stay for the whole of next season.
Do you think he does realistically?
Could be a no. In all honesty, I could see a purchase and loan back situation. You see that happen a lot with young players, where a team would buy him, send him right back to us to finish out our season, and then take him in January next year. But I still think he's probably going to be gone.
I think of so Joe Patrick keeps putting out there that his release clause is $25 million, which is
Pennies.
just stupidly
That's
low.
pennies
And
for him, yeah.
from remember when there was like speculation that he was saying that he didn't care that he was going to MLS before he came over here. So as soon as he gets that opportunity, he's like, "All right, guys, I'm gone." You know.
I think he's gone. I think he's gone in the offseason, personally.
Gosh, that's really gonna suck.
I don't know.
If he has a good closing performance, I think even with his performance this season, there's so much promise in him. I don't know.
Well, also he could be in the World Cup squad for the World Cup.
Well, good point.
So which even increases the chances.
Yeah, I just don't think you see a ton of like big name. A lot you see big name January signings, but not near what it is in the summer.
Yeah, yeah. If his release clause, if it's true about that, he's gone. Absolutely, 100%. But if it's not true, then I see that he could potentially stick around to the end of the season.
So we paid $16 million for him. So that's $9 million left on the table. We get $3 million in profit off of that because
no, I think they've changed it all now. That we'll get
100% Hundo P,
something like that.
How much of a bummer is it, talking about players like Almada that, it's going to suck to see them go, but obviously you want to see them develop and reach their full potential, wherever that may be. Like it's the first time that I think I've been hit with the realization or reconciling the fact that like we were coming into the season expecting to get a marquee trade for Robinson at the end of this season. And that's not going to happen now. Like, and I don't know if it happens next year because he's going to be spending the better part of the year, I think, getting back to form. And who knows if that happens. Like, it's just a bummer to think about where he was in his career and then to lose an entire season in a World Cup year and everything else that he's going to miss out on when he was really peaking at the right time in his development,
Yeah, I hate. Maybe the silver lining is it's really good for Atlanta United. Yeah. The crux is going to come when his contract's up and how he's done. Are we going to? I'm sure. We'd have to pay Tam for him.
At the very least, right? I mean, he's
at the very least. I think that you do that.
I think he's realistically he could ask for DP money. I know he's going to be 26, so that's where I think you're right, Dan. Silver lining is. He's 26 in March coming off of an Achilles injury, and the odds that he is going to get a big name or big money move to Europe at this point might not be great. But, I mean, he could very well. He's been one of the best, if not the best, center backs in the United States setup, not just in MLS over the past couple of years. So, like, he could demand – I mean, Walker Zimmerman's making DP money. He could very well demand DP money if he comes back into form next year.
Well, maybe maybe there's a way we can get a team friendly contract. I mean, when does the MLSPA bargain end?
2026. I don't quote me on that, but I think let's see, current MLS.
I mean, there's always like each year. I guess the MLSPA agreement doesn't matter, but every year there's more TAM being infused, more TAM being allowed on teams, and maybe there is wiggle room that we can afford to keep him or something like that. But
so you're right. I mean, so I'm looking at the CBA right now. I could share this for the folks that are watching, but I think this is interesting for people to see. So this is a breakdown from MLSsoccer.com. The CBA goes until the end of 2027. So right here, we're in the calendar year of 2022. We're at 4.9 million in salary budget. Discretionary TAM's at 2.8. So TAM is actually going to go down next year. Availability to spend on your roster goes up because GAM goes up for every team, and then also salary budget does. So next year wouldn't be what you're talking about, right? Because as Miles' contract in
end of next year.
Right. So you're looking at the 2024 numbers. Who knows where we'll be with DPs by then, but you are looking in again. I mean, discretionary TAM is going down every single year. GAM is going up, and then salary budgets are going up. So you're going to have more money in there to spend. I guess GAM is more for keeping within the league, right? Like paying for players and transfers within the league, if I'm not mistaken.
I think, oh gosh, so they're both. You can either pay a player. You can either reduce their hit against the salary cap using TAM or GAM, and TAM is for higher paid players, and GAM is for just general use that you can use on any player.
But isn't that just absurd that the salary cap is that low in MLS? Like thinking about what I know, it's not a cash cow like other leagues in the US, but like you look at basketball, baseball doesn't have salary cap, but like the NBA or NFL or NHL, like they're fucking their salary caps are so high compared to this.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. But I mean, that's that's what makes it a sustainable model.
Yeah, for the time being, you would think that's
well. Surely, as they go along, I mean, that's all subject to change. Like if something, if something comes along that impacts that, and the solution is to just give a fourth DP spot or something along those lines, or just give a huge influx of GAM or get rid of GAM or whatever, then they'll do that. It's just the market conditions have to be right in order for them to do that.
I feel like adding a fourth designated player would just, I don't know what the negative to that would be at this point.
Just that other teams. Well, I don't know how many other teams have use all three of their DP spots, or what the percentages
that's what I'm trying
of teams
to pull
that
up
do
right
that.
now. Yeah.
I mean, it would just. I mean, I think as an Atlanta United fan that has tons of money, I think it's a fantastic idea, and I'm sure there's a lot of other affluent teams that would also enjoy that. But I don't know if I think Colorado only uses 2.
Montreal uses 1, and it's for Victor Wanyama, their central defensive midfielder.
Jeez.
And they're like
Colorado's
doing
only
so well.
Colorado's only DP is Jossie Zardes. Columbus uses all theirs. DC uses all theirs. Cincy, Dallas, Houston, Inter, Galaxy all use theirs. LAFC somehow are only using 2, and it's not the guys you would expect. It's Carlos Vela and Dennis Bouanga. Minnesota, Nashville, New England use all theirs. NYCFC only have 2. They just lost their third DP to a transfer, Tati Castellanos. Red Bulls are using 2 for Luquinhas and Patrick Klimala, or Klimala, I guess. Orlando's got 3. Philly's only got 2. Portland has 3. Real Salt Lake only have 2. San Jose only have 2. St. Louis is only using 2. Granted, they're not in the league yet, but and Toronto and Vancouver are only using 2. So to your point, I mean, yeah, it would be the rich getting richer, but it could also force owners to stop being penny pinchers.
Well, it's the evolution of a league, and if you can't afford, I mean, you can keep your team, but I think they should just do it, because that's, just how markets work. You have to, if you want to be competitive.
God, don't let fucking soccer Twitter hear you say, hey, that's
what,
talk about free market.
How capitalism works. I mean, come on.
How dare you?
I know. It's so weird. Like, America is so capitalist driven, but the sports world in America is the most socialist construct across the globe, or one of them. I mean, it's just,
we hate
just
Nazis.
Interesting.
It's because we hate Nazis.
Well, who doesn't hate Nazis? I mean, that's
our buddy Carl Seggi is saying, as a Brit, I do not understand.
You're going to say our buddy Carl Seggi does not hate Nazis.
He says, as a Brit, I do not understand salary cap. It is basically the same as FFP, right?
No.
I mean, no, not necessarily. So because, well, first of all, the salary cap actually means something. Financial fair play means absolutely nothing if you have oil money.
Well, the financial fair play, yeah, it's
based off of P&L, right? Like you're not
Right.
supposed to spend more than you have coming into the club.
Right.
That's,
So what teams like Birmingham City do is they sell their stadium to a shell company who then manages the stadium, and that gives them 13 million in profit. But then next season they maybe sell it again. It doesn't. I mean, it's just awful. Yeah, I mean, you're just mortgaging assets. It's a quick way for badly run clubs to get relegated and get points deducted.
yeah. For the salary cap, it really is about just trying to create equity is not the right word I want to use here, but among the
Parity.
league, creating parity, right? Like it's forced parity, but also it is like it's financial constraint you put on the league so that you don't grow past your means. And I understand it, but at the same time, I feel like you need to drag some of these like cheap owners into the future, or force them to sell their club, or just to have them like be shit teams.
Nobody's forcing them to sell their club.
I don't mean like actually coercing them.
Right.
Or, like,
No, I know.
I mean like if your team is that shit after the fact, I mean you're probably gonna sell it, or you're gonna either shit or get off the pot. Like that's what's gonna have to happen there. But like in terms of where the salary cap comes from, Carl, I think it has to do with the amount of influx of money that comes in for TV deals and all that sort of thing, the distribution of that, also just the collective bargaining agreement between the players union and the league about player salary restrictions and all that shit. And it's a lot. It's a lot. We don't even have the most complicated one, I don't think, in MLS. Like the NBA salary cap's pretty crazy. A lot of restrictions, a lot of rules. Anyway, is Kevin asleep yet?
Been there, done that.
Just over there smoking drugs.
Smoking drugs.
I see you smoking your drugs.
Doing
Kevin.
drugs. Yep.
All right. Well, if that's it, boys, we'll wrap it up for this evening. Thank you guys for tuning in with us, hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. Not sure when we'll be back. If we'll be back, we'll always be back. But whenever it is, if you hit that bell icon on YouTube, you will get a notification whenever we go live. If you'd like to hang out with us on Twitter, you can do so at Home Before Dark. That's before spelled B and the number 4. And we'll see you when we see you. You know? Until then, as always, be Home Before Dark.
Carl Sagan, get rid of the caps, bring in Pro Rel, and we'll be in good shape. I don't agree with that, but
he hates.
Main point, he hates Nazis.
But also he hates Vancouver Whitecaps.
And so should you.